Last time we'd spoken, I think you were on 4 months of perfect sleep. Where are you at now?
I completed 6 months of perfect sleep.
And what does perfect sleep mean for anyone?
100% sleep score.
And that's judged by?
My wearable, by Whoop.
Okay.
And so before I did this, nobody had achieved that series of 100% scores. And many people who've had a device like that for over a year have never once achieved a 100% sleep score. And what I was trying to do was something akin to like a 4-minute mile, or Amelia Earhart flying a plane across the Atlantic, or someone climbing Everest. It was basically a demonstration of human ability that people didn't think was possible. And then once one person demonstrates it, it opens it up for everyone else. Because if I can do it, everyone else knows they can do it too. And so I wanted to show that reliable, high quality sleep is achievable. And that if you do that, it could potentially give you the best cognitive and emotional performance of your life.
Do you think there's a human being, an adult human being on planet Earth that's slept better than you for the last 6 months?
There's currently no one that has shared data that has achieved that. So if we're just looking at the data alone, which is not an entire representation, then yeah, I've accomplished the best sleep score in history.
Pretty impressive. And for just to recap, so I'm clear, because I know we discussed this last time. You go to bed at like 8 p.m., right?
8:30.
8:30, and your last meal of the day is before midday.
Yeah, that's right, 11 a.m.
8:30, and you're still doing that. You're still going to bed at 8:30 every day.
That's right.
People are, I feel like their sleep is getting worse and worse in society with stimulants that we consume, the way we live our lives, devices destroy sleep. Do you think sleep is really the foundation of daily performance? Would you aim at that first if you were someone that was trying to start your journey to live a life more in line with your long-term goals?
Sleep is the single most important thing any human does on any given day. And if you look at it from a cultural identity standpoint, people like you and me who work hard at an entrepreneurial endeavor, there's this mythology that if you sleep under your desk or you go days without sleep, you're a hero. That people will tell stories about you. It's like the old, I guess, Viking mythology where you have these stories told about your great deeds. And so it's almost like if you're a great entrepreneur, and if you want to be respected by your peers, and if you want to achieve mythology-like status, you do that sleep deprivation thing. And so it's built so far into our cultural identity. So when I know when my friends I act as a therapist for many people who go through this thing where they don't realize why they actually can't prioritize sleep. And then when we dig deep, it's that they have these imaginations of the kind of person they want to become and how they want others to view them. And they feel trapped that if they don't complete the mythology lore, that they'll somehow be less than, and they won't achieve the ranking among the social group. And it's all backwards. The shift that's appropriate is, and it's happening actually right now, is that the person who prioritizes sleep is going to be higher performing. They'll be more lucid. They'll have better ideas. The people who don't sleep are literally half dead. They're actually intoxicated. They're impaired. Physiologically, they're impaired.
Explain that.
When you are sleep deprived, to a certain degree, it is equal to being intoxicated by alcohol. You're inebriated. And so these are the people who are leading organizations. There are groups of a large number of individuals that are expecting them to make high quality decisions on behalf of the entire group. And it's those very people who are not sleeping well and who are impaired in their judgment. It's backwards. And so it's a good note to make. And this goes back to the first conversation of what am I not aware of? If you're playing the script of social norms, of doing what people say, and you're not questioning them, then you're living in the past of antiquated ideas that are hurtful to you. Like, here's one more example. I was at a conference the other day, and the gentleman who was interviewing me said, "Hey, who here thinks that you can live forever?" And there was like two people were like, who here thinks you're going to die? And like everyone's hand shot up. And I was commenting to them that when you read history, who in a historical moment actually understood what was happening in that time and place? 99% of people are living in the past. They repeat the things that people in the past had said. The future had already arrived. So if it's like the year 1634, the future already arrived in 1634. It's just the people there living during that time frame don't know it. They hadn't seen it yet. They hadn't been exposed to it, or maybe they exposed to it, but they thought it was crazy, or the person was a quack. And so people are always living in the past. And so the same is true right now. We are living in the past. The future is already here. The ideas and technologies are out there. Maybe you and I have seen it, maybe we can't, maybe we encounter it, maybe we believe it, maybe we don't, but it's definitely here right now. And sleep is one of those things where the future is already here, and people who are playing the mythology of no sleep and another desk and everything else, they're living in the past.
I think a lot of people listening who do struggle with sleep do believe in the importance of sleep. At least if you ask them, they'd say they did. But for whatever reason, they might have sleep-related difficulties. They might have insomnia. They might lay in bed all night and just feel anxious or whatever else. And it's those people that I want to offer some advice to. Mm-hmm. The people that, they work hard and stuff, but they just struggle with sleep.
Yeah. There's a difference between the acknowledgement that sleep may be good for you, and like you say, like, yeah, I'm on board with good sleep. It's an entirely different situation when you prioritize your life around that, which means if somebody's like, hey, let's grab a drink, sorry, can't, my bedtime's at blank. Or if you find that you sleep better by having earlier meals, and then you're in a social event, you're like, well, I'm going to eat anyways. So it forces you to make really hard decisions on your actual lifestyle, which it does. It pits you against social norms, which are uncomfortable. We want to fit in. We want to have friends. We want to be part of the tribe. So it does really invite, but every person who makes the gesture, who does it, makes the tribe stronger. So when one person's brave enough to say, actually, I'm gonna hit the sack, guys, and like, oh man, you're such a wuss. Why are you doing that? Hang out, man. Like, what's wrong with you? Like they jokingly try to belittle, and like, it's kind of serious and kind of not. But every time somebody does that and has the courage, there's several others in that group who are like, damn, I now feel empowered that I can say something, and that's the norm that's shifting. But it's the same social dynamics in whatever time you're in. It's just understanding that and not being owned by it.
And then I guess the other exception potentially is parents that don't have childcare. Because
yes.
I mean, when I speak to parents, they always tell me, they're like, Steve, listen, when you have a kid, you can forget your no meetings before 11 a.m. rule and your Whoop HRV competition.
Yeah.
Because when that baby cries at 3 a.m., and then at 4 a.m. and at 5 a.m., you're just going to be dragged through the mud with them. So.
Yeah. That's true. And having raised 3 kids, I can attest that that's true. Also, you can definitely establish a sleep culture in your family where you can make it understandable that once the child goes to sleep at whatever age, the expectation is they're in their bedroom for that entire duration of time. Absent something, a fire or them feeling threatened for their life, if it's because they lost their toy car under their bed, or it's because they can't find their blankie, none of that justifies leaving the room and entering, the parents' bedroom. So there's definitely things that can be done. You're not entirely powerless, and you can make meaningful improvements by setting the standard for the entire family. That starts with the parents. Like what hygiene do they maintain, and what do they pass on to the children? But it's not entirely hopeless.